Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by Anna Dupre of Anna Rose Reads to talk about what to read to fill that severance shaped void in your life. Remember, our picks are mysterious and important. Please enjoy each recommendation equally.
I feel like we should be eating like cantaloupe
I
and
know.
watermelon or whatever the hell they
We
carved
should
herb's head out of.
Oh yeah, we should have had a little melon party. It's not too late
Yeah.
to do a dance party.
Yeah. Ends debatably good or bad, so proceed with caution.
Right, well, welcome to the show, Anna. To the
Thank you
main show, at least.
Thank you so much for having me. I really can't tell you how excited to be on here officially in this capacity.
Well, we are very excited to have you. We're talking Severance because Severance, I think, is one of those shows that we messaged about constantly when it was on. Our theories,
Absolutely.
our thoughts, our heartbreaks, our everything.
Well, that show made my stomach hurt in ways that are hard to express. The amount of stress that I experienced, and mostly because I didn't have a conventional viewing experience.
What?
My fiance had watched season 1 when it came out, and I did not, and we were
Mhm.
not together at that time. And so when season 2 came back, he puts it on and he's like, "Hey, are you worried about this being spoiled for you?" And I was like, "No, I don't have time to catch up on it, whatever." So he puts it on,
Oh.
and then I got hooked. But I knew like the big twist of season 2, like what was like hinted at really at season 1 and then into season 2. And so I knew. So then when I went back and I watched season 1, I would argue that it was more horrific because I knew the truth behind everything that was happening. And to see like Helly spin out and be as angry as she was, and all of it just made my stomach hurt so freaking. It was like the worst dramatic irony of knowing what was coming and and not being able to do anything about it.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. Like going back and watching season 1, knowing what you know.
It's very much more horror show. Like, I don't know if people would classify Severance as horror, but for me, that shit was horrific, is all I can say.
I think it definitely straddles that line for sure. There are definitely horror elements. I think the premise in itself is horrifying.
Well, it's really funny because whenever I heard about it, I was like, "Oh, how cool! Like, how great!" I didn't think about it that deeply, and I mean,
The
I used to
the
have like a
procedure itself, you're saying,
oh
sounded
no,
good. Okay.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean to have your work self and your personal self severed because I had like a really stressful job at the time, and I was like, "How great would that be if I didn't have to take my work home with me?" Right? But then I didn't realize how deep and involved it was. Like the little news snippets that you hear whenever Mark is like watching television about like how women are pregnant with like in their Indian outie, like they're not, they can't communicate with one another. So like, what do you do about that? I didn't think that deeply into it, and then the horror just set in. The more I realized the ramifications of what Severance actually was beyond just not having to deal with your work stuff at home anymore.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, the experience of an innie in this has gotta be torture because you never sleep. You just you're constantly, I mean, for the Lumen innies, just at work. Your entire existence is work.
Yeah,
There is no break. There is no
and it,
respite. There is
there is no break from fluorescent lighting, and that of
no.
itself is so horrific.
But then, oh my god, imagine, yeah, the innies that only get activated to give birth. Like, your
Oh
only
God,
conscious experience is to be in labor,
I mm, I see. This is like
unmedicated
when
labor. Like, right? It's torture.
Yeah. This is like where I start to feel like I need to throw up a little bit. Like I just oh, it makes my stomach hurt so bad. And it feels like such like an oddly feminist show because it's about like bodily autonomy, right? And like
Mhm.
control over yourself and oh my god. I mean, there's obviously female and male characters in this, but Jesus, it just hurts my stomach so so bad. And then like the romantic aspect of it, like the people on the outside who have partners, and then on the inside, that's not, they might have things too. I don't know. It just all of that meshing together just really stresses me out so bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if people are listening to this without having seen the show. It happens, I'm sure. Uh, but essentially, the premise for Severance is that in this world, there is a procedure, and they tell you an irreversible procedure that they do in your brain where you essentially sever your outside self to your work self. And so, like, what that looks like is like you go to your job and you clock in, and then in the elevator, like your consciousness like kind of stops there, and then when you open your eyes, like your work self is awake. So as your outside self, you would like go into an elevator, and then you would be like clocking out. Like that entire 8-hour span you would not be conscious for.
Yeah, and the thing that I read somebody like posed this like on Reddit or somewhere on social media. It was like, what if your Audi just like drinks every night or like parties hard every night and your Innie's existence is only to be hungover at work? Like, because they can't communicate with one another. Like the Innie and the Audi cannot communicate with one another.
Mm-mm.
There is no like it could in essence be two separate people, two separate personalities. So like that was wild to me, that whole premise.
Yeah. And it was so funny because Helly basically read my mind as I watched the first season, and I'm like, "Just write on your arm, write a note to your Audi, swallow a note." Like, she tries all the things that I would try. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
She's like, I don't think I can express how much I love Helly. Like, she's the most punk, badass, like, oh, I am obsessed with her. And it like breaks my heart that her character goes through what she goes through. But I love that she tried all the things. She was like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. And
Mhm.
quite literally went through everything that she could to get out. So I mean, all the power to her, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very well done show. It's visually very striking, and I do like that the kind of genre speculative elements allow it to kind of have this critique of capitalism and corporate culture in a way that doesn't seem too on the nose because it's not the main focus of the thing, if that
Well,
makes sense.
yeah, and it's like it's not we don't even know what year it's set. We don't even know
No,
if
we
it's
don't
set,
know
like, in this
anything.
universe because, like, all of the cars that they drive are super dated, but I think that they also have cell phones. But, like, nothing makes any amount of regular sense. It like,
Mhm.
nobody can really pinpoint what year it is, what kind of world they're living in, like, all of these things. So, it's, like, completely of its own, but still very providing a lot of commentary on our world, so
Yeah. Well, then in this later season, getting into the lore of Lubin, and it's like so weird and like possibly supernatural, and like, what is going on?
yeah, it got really culty at the end. It got
Yes.
very, I don't yeah. I don't think I fully understand it. I don't think we're meant to quite exactly
No.
yet. But the, with Miss Cobell and, like, all that
Yeah.
her role in that, I was like, "Holy shit, I didn't expect it to go that way." But I'm kinda here for it.
Yeah. Well, we are here to talk about some recommendations. If you watch Severance and are looking for more books like that, but up front, we have a few movies slash shows that kind of have a similar vibe. And I forced Anna against her will to watch Never Let Me Go.
I don't know if I can forgive you for that one, I will not lie. Somebody else had recommended the book to me. I think it was Neil. I think it was
Neil
Neil
loves that book.
Stauber.
It's one of
Yeah,
our favorite books.
I think he recommended it to me, and I bought it, and I just had made my way to it, and you were like, "You have to either read or watch the movie before we do this," and I was like, "Alright." And the time constraints, I was like, I'll do the movie."
Mhm.
Oh my god. Why would you do that to me?
Because I felt that it had relevant themes to personhood.
I mean, don't get me
And
wrong. It definitely did. You were not wrong to do that, but, oh, like, talk about rip your heart out,
Oh,
stomp on
it
it,
is.
run over it with a truck, back up again, throw it off a cliff, set it on fire.
It is heartbreaking.
It's so I've cried a lot at the end. It's got 2010 Andrew Garfield in it.
Yeah.
Also, that cast was stacked, I was not expecting. It's got, like, Keira
Carrie
Knightley, yeah,
Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan too, and, young, what's her name? Was, Ella Purnell, who went on to be
Oh,
in Yellow Jackets.
was she like with the younger version of them?
Yes,
Okay.
whenever they were in school. I was like, hold on here, and in my mind, 2010 is not that far away. That's 15 years ago. In case anybody wants needs the math on that.
Oh my god.
So I was also having a cultural existential crisis watching this film about the passage of time, in addition to having my feelings hurt repeatedly. So yes,
Yeah. The the book absolutely ripped my heart out because like as you're watching it, it is more about this the dynamics of this like toxic friendship slash love triangle, like looking back at boarding school and then you as the reader kind of slowly being made aware of why they were in that school
yeah.
and
I
what their purpose is.
Yeah, I don't know, like, what the synopsis for the book is, so I don't wanna say anything that would spoil it, but the film was very much like, it was very, like, soap opery, and then, like, but it was very, like, malicious, like, there was little things hinted in about their what they were growing up to do and, like, what their life's trajectory would be and, like, what it meant for everybody else, and it was really, really upsetting because there was just little sprinkles of it, and you didn't really know until towards the end when it's just, like, in your face and you're dealing with it. It was very upsetting.
Oh my gosh. And I think one of the most tragic things is the bit of hope that they're chasing.
Yes.
Like the possibility that they could be spared from this if certain things can be proved. It's just it
And, like,
hurts you. It's out to hurt you.
the thing that is, like, required to prove it, right? Like, it has to do with their, like, soul and their artistic ability and their, like, humanity, and they're like, maybe just kidding, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
it's so crushing, it's so upsetting.
So yeah.
Yeah. Everybody go watch this, it's great.
Or read it. It's an excellent book.
I'm definitely gonna read it one day, just probably
Yeah.
not anytime soon, I need to heal
You need
first.
it needs to heal. I was also thinking for obvious reasons, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, and that film that's another film that has, like, a stacked cast when you look back on it. I did not realize.
Oh yeah, it's everyone. It's because it's not just Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet. It's like Elijah Wood. It's Mark Ruffalo. It's Kirsten Dunst. It is.
Yes. They just keep popping up, like, so nonchalantly, I'm like, "Hello?" But yeah, no, that is, like, very much more of, like, a grungier and, like, nitty-gritty film, it feels like. So it feels, like, a little bit meaner to me than Never Let Me Go, like, Never Let Me Go was just sad. Just, like,
Yeah,
really, really sad, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is too, but there's, like, an aesthetic feel to it that feels different, I don't know.
it does feel different, and I think depending on how you interpret the ending, it's a little more hopeful. Um, I don't know what it says about me. Eternal Sunshine is in my letterbox top 4.
I
I
mean,
love that movie.
I think that that's a solid top 4 pick. I
Okay.
mean 1, the cast, 2, like, what the film's about, obviously. It feels very like, everybody talks about that movie in reference to a lot of different things, like, topics much like, we're doing with Severance, but, like, there's so many other things about, like, love and relationships and, everything else, so I feel that makes sense to me. I don't think that that's a weird flex to say it's in your top 4.
Okay. Nothing like, "Oh, that one?
No.
That's so lame." Um, and then okay, I did watch Fringe back in the day, but I'm gonna be honest, I have blanked on a lot of the major plot lines.
The only reason I remember is because I just, like, rewatched it 2 years ago, and it holds up, in my opinion, I think it holds up pretty well. Um, so Fringe was, like, this TV show, I think it was, like, early 2010s or late 2000s that it came on, I don't even remember. But anyway, it's kind of like an X-Files reboot. It's like there's a lot of shared DNA with like this division of like government research and crime solving of the FBI. They look into like weird cases and stuff, but there's like of course a through line of like central lore that carries all the way through the show. And like one of the season's focus is on like this alternate universe that they find, like a parallel universe, and the main character Olivia, she like the spoilers if you haven't watched Fringe, but I mean, sorry, this is an old show. Go watch it if not. Essentially, her character gets swapped out, and we don't know it with her alternative person. So they call her like Alt Livia or whatever. And so she assumes the real Olivia's life in the present timeline that we're watching. And there's a love interest element to this show, and they like start hooking up, and you're like, that's not her, that's not it. It upset me so much. And the his name's Peter, it's played by Joshua Jackson. I'm like, you moron, how could you do this to me? You are breaking my heart in front of my eyes, because I'm like, you should know, if you love her you should know that's not her. Anyway, they eventually figure it out, they sort it out. It's all very traumatic, but god, that wrecked me. Like, even still, that's another thing that makes my stomach hurt. Ah.
I mean, it is giving Severance.
It's giving so much Severance, and, like, I don't know what it is specifically about the body snatching plotline, like, the being replaced and, like, nobody else knows it. That is
The
so
doppelganger
upsetting to
horror.
me.
It's the doppelganger horror.
Yes, it's so upsetting to me because it says something about the people in your life if they
Yes.
don't know that it's not you. Like, that's so upsetting to me. Oh my god.
I know. When I did that episode, I started to spiral. I'm like, can we ever really be known?
No,
It was
apparently not.
existential.
No. Apparently not. We can never be fully perceived. Everybody come up with your special word to tell whoever. If they ask for it, you have to say whatever it is, and if you don't say it, then they know it's not really you. That's the only failsafe to all of
I
this.
feel like there's got to be things that backfire for that, but I don't know.
I mean, there is, but don't tell me that. Give me a little bit of hope, okay? You already broke my heart once this week with Never Let Me Go.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
put me through this too.
All right. Well, should we get into some books?
We probably should.
Okay. I want to start out with my most recent read of these, and that is Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang. Ling Huang, who wrote Natural Beauty, which was 5 out of 5 stars. So she's 2 for 2 on this. Okay. She's going to be cemented as a favorite, I fear. Okay. And since this is my most recent read, I feel like I'm probably going to ramble the most about this
I love
because.
rambling. Go for it.
Okay.
Let her rip.
So this is set in a universe in America where a billionaire has put in these art installations around the city that essentially serve to separate the higher class from the lower classes. And I know what you're thinking. What infrastructure that would cause a separation in privileged versus lower privileged people? That would never happen here. I know. But in this universe, the redlining is even digital to where people that are on the fringe, so that's like on the underprivileged side of the barrier, cannot even access the online, like social media
Oh
of the
god.
other people. And you can imagine where all the museums are, where all the culture is, and it just becomes this really divided place. We are following Inca, who is from the fringe and who wanted to be an artist, but her parents, since they have lost a lot of friends because of this barrier, are kind of snarky about the idea of art and kind of wasting your time doing that type of stuff. Like, that's not for people like us. But Anka does get a scholarship to go to this prestigious art school where she meets Mathilde. The majority of this book is the toxic friendship between Anka and Mathilde, and I love a toxic friendship story. This is art school toxic friendship.
Oh, ooh, ooh, that sounds so good.
So they immediately strike up this like really intense bond. And Mathilde is obviously privileged, but she's just a very natural artist. Like she just comes up with these really subversive, fresh ideas. She does a lot of like performance art, and Anka's um medium of art is digital because that's what she had to pivot to get a scholarship. So she already feels kind of resentful towards Mathilde that she got to pursue like painting, which was something she had to give up to get the scholarship. Like there's layers. And Mathilde's star begins to rise, and Inca becomes desperate to keep her close. And then while they're in art school, there is essentially this kind of Gen AI program that people can start using that kind of renders a lot of their art they feel obsolete. And so it's this like earth-shattering moment for a lot of people in this art school, and it's like who still gets to make art in this world. And then Anka marries a tech billionaire, and his family created a technology that is supposed to enhance empathy.
Oh
And
dear, there's so much
yeah.
happening. Oh
Oh, this
my
is
god.
that's why I'm like, this is the one I'm probably gonna talk about the most. Um, and I don't wanna get into too much about, like, what the technology is, but Inca and Mathilde already kind of have this bond where they are, like, really codependent on each other. Like, one of their friend things is, like, "You breathe in, I breathe out." Like,
Oh
that's
god.
like, it is, like, intense. And so they do this procedure, and it is very much like, where do you end and where do I begin?
This sounds horrific. Absolutely horrific for so many reasons. Oh my god.
I was like enthralled though.
No,
Like there are so many things happening and I'm like, what?
no, I need to read it. No doubt. But like I'm trying to like piece together where oh my god. The where you end and I begin and the empathy and the oh it's so much at once to like pick apart and it's so relevant to right now with like all of AI and generative
Mhm.
AI and
I
everything else.
It is, and I feel like that's going to be the next wave in fiction that we're
Oh
going to
yeah.
see. So we have this. I know like Nat Cassidy's working on a book. I think Paul Tremblay's next book is
Well, Paul
about
Trim
AI. Yeah,
he had
he's
his
been in
little
the trenches.
yeah, he's been in the trenches with that. And his little middle grade novel, I should say little, it's not little, it's just shorter. Another I feel like taps into the same messaging. I just
Yeah.
read that one and I yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of it because it really like we're all I think all of us who are in the book community or most of us I should say get why AI is terrible and we're all about originality and creativity and like really leaning on those things. Like maybe if we don't write, like we might draw or paint or like do other creative outlets, right? And so like when you read fiction like this, it still feels very personal because it's coming for like it's like maybe not our livelihood, but it's our creative spark. It's the thing. It's still something that matters a lot to us, and that's what makes it to me so much more like existentially terrifying to read books like this.
Yeah. And I think it definitely comes through in this book and like the despair of people who have given their whole lives to art and kind of feel like overnight, like what am I
Yeah,
even
what do you do?
doing this for? Like in the book, she's been working on an installation for like months and then she sees and like her idea is on there.
Oh my god. I would
She's
throw
like,
up. I would throw up.
um yeah. And that's just like one layer to the story. There are so many layers, but it's there are a lot of eternal sunshine type themes and similarities like with the procedure itself. Like I felt like in the scene where it's happening, I'm like, oh yeah, this this seems familiar. But I read an interview and she was talking about how like when social media really started to be rolled out, it was kind of under the guise that this is going to enhance empathy, like being able to see how other people present themselves online, being able to like put yourself in another person's shoes would enhance empathy. And I'm like, "Mm,
Oh.
I don't think it went that way.
N
TBH."
no, no, that's a very rose-colored glasses viewpoint of that. I appreciate it, but I don't think that that's the reality.
Yes. So yeah, I was thinking the kind of a dark side of technology and brain procedures and the human cost of that for
Yeah.
Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna preface this by I feel like a lot of my picks feel the same thematically in terms of like the themes with Severance of like personhood and like split personality or dual identity, however you want to kind of look at it. Um, so knowing that, I'm gonna start with my first pick, and that is The Redemption of Morgan Bright by Chris Panatier. This is a novel where a woman basically voluntarily commits herself to a woman's insane asylum to figure out what happened to her sister, who died under mysterious circumstances, like either directly following after her time there or while she was there. I can't really quite remember the timeline on that, but basically to do so, she has to like assume this identity. And the lines between the identity that she assumes and who she really is kind of begin to blur on top of the horrors of this institution and like what's really happening there. Um, it's a really, really dark novel. Like Chris really went there with this one. And there was when I was watching Severance, I felt like the underlying darkness, like especially whenever Irv's paintings ooze black, like
Oh
in
yeah.
real time that bleed over. And kind of like how that translates to Morgan's like identity crisis that she's having and like the flashes of like what she remembers, and especially the way that Chris wrote the book, you're finding out in real time what's going on, and then also you're getting flashback pieces to her relationship with her sister. So it feels a little bit kind of like the storytelling was a little bit similar as we're like finding out what's going on with the innies and the outies and all of that. It's just really, really dark. It's mentally disturbing to think about that kind of severance and then like what they have to endure on both sides for the book and the show. And yeah, so I guess the biggest thing, and I won't get into the spoiler of like what's actually happening at Hollyhock, that's the insane asylum, because that's the whole point of the book. But it's really messed up. It's really dark and it's really freaky. And I wouldn't be surprised if Severance takes a turn for the outlandish with that
Yeah.
kind of in mind, because there's like the hint of something supernatural or paranormal going on, which is something that, Chris writes with Morgan Bright. So yeah, there's obviously the identity crisis, the severing of selves, and then possible paranormal elements that I feel like really are in line with Severance. So yeah. Did you read this one?
I didn't. I've heard really good things though.
It's very intense. Like the end, I still there's like an image that I have from the end that if it was like a painting, it's very haunting. And like honestly, it feels a little gothic too, I'm not gonna lie, because everything feels like very removed. Oh, and the setting too. The time is not really known in Morgan Bright. It's like it kind of revealed towards the end, like what you're thinking. It's kind of like maybe the future, maybe it's not.
Hmm.
And I think it also says something about like our social values. Like you would think like we're moving progressively forward, right? But then maybe with like especially the rise of like tradwife movements and
Yeah.
all of that, wherever you go there you are. And I feel like Severance is kind of toying with that too without giving us a set date and time of where things are happening. So to be determined, though, we don't know yet.
TBD.
Yeah. So that's my pick, The Redemption of Morgan Bright by Chris Panatier.
I love it. I really feel like a good chunk of mine are about like weird tech and the human cost of it, like sinister corporations.
I'm all
It's
for it.
what I'm leaning into.
I want to hear about it.
All right, so let's talk about The Center by Ayesha Manazir Siddiqui. And this is about a woman named Anissa who dreams of being a translator of great work. But currently, her gig is just kind of dubbing Bollywood movies and living off her parents' allowance. And she's dating this guy, Adam, who she describes as just kind of like run of the mill, average, mediocre white man. But when he goes to meet her parents, he is suddenly fluent in Urdu and is able to speak with them. And she's like, when did this happen? excuse me, like, was this something you were hiding from me? And she finally gets it out of him, and he tells her about this place called the Center. It's very exclusive, kind of invite only, and it costs like couple $1,000. But essentially, you go in for 10 days, all immersive. You have to like surrender your clothes, your electronics, like everything. Like they will give you clothes. You live there for 10 days. You will come out fluent in whatever language you choose.
That's intense.
And so she gets in and decides to do it for German. So you kind of follow her as she's there, like checking in, getting the clothes, being led to her room, like what she does while she's at the center. And then, as promised, like when she leaves, she is fluent in German and kind of begins pursuing that dream she had of these like forgotten classics that like now she gets to put her name on as like the translator of these forgotten classics. But she's still very intrigued about the center. So she goes back and kind of tries to get in with the people running it and discovers what is going on at the center. How does this work? What is the human cost of this promise?
This sounds like the most messed up version of Duolingo, like, ever.
It
Like, if the Duolingo owl, bird, whatever it is, ran a very nefarious tech company, which, hey, it might be for all we know.
This is actually what the Duolingo bird is doing, probably. I wouldn't put it past him.
I mean, I agree. I've seen it. I've seen
He
his
he's got
TikToks.
he's got a sinister energy,
It
and
does. It's very sinister and it's very chaotic, so I would not
and
be surprised.
and when I skip my lessons, I get very sinister emails, so I wouldn't put it past him, TBH,
Yeah, well,
to be honest.
sounds like he's
Uh,
been busy.
and this is also part of the Gillian Flynn's imprint.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, that is The Center by Ayesha, Manazir, Siddiqui.
Wonderful. I can't wait to go read about that nefarious Duolingo bird. Anyway, my next pick, it's actually a trilogy. It's the Wayward Pines trilogy by Blake Crouch. And if we want to like just pick one, the first book kind of gets into it, and then you'll learn more with books 2 and 3. And I'm gonna do my very, very best to not spoil it if I can help it. But this is another kind of like split self. Also a little bit like the technology is here, but should we really use it for this? Like, what's the ethics of this?
Hmm.
And where does it leave us in the future? So this is more of like a sci-fi horror pick, I guess. But basically, there's a Secret Service agent, and he wakes up in this like really weird town. He doesn't have any ID on him. He's kind of banged up. He like has really no idea what's going on. And all that he can really remember is he's trying to find two other missing agents from his workplace. So he kind of like comes to, he's in a weird hospital. He's like trying to get answers and everybody's just acting like really, really weird. And basically it gets revealed that he he did not, I don't know how to say this without spoiling it. I might just have to spoil it. All of the vibes are just, like, the worst kind of off. Um, and it's revealed that everybody in the town had made a decision, uh, their past selves had made a decision for their future selves in the event of a really bad event happening to the world. And they are not aware of what their past selves signed them up for, but as this thing kind of blows up and everybody starts to come to the truth of what they signed up for, the reality around them like kind of begins to crumble, and then the reality of like the world around them is revealed, and it's like high action. It's very weird shit, so like very sci-fi. I would argue that it's horrific for one, not realizing what your past self signed you up for as a future
Yeah.
self, a different identity, and just like the truth of what's going on around them. It's very dystopian, I'd say, like, towards the end of things. Um, but there's also a lot of drama. Like, for instance, there's, like, marriages and relationships that were forgotten or dismissed because of, like, what happened in the past versus what they agreed to in the future. So, once the reality becomes available to them, which I think happens in, like, book 2 or the end of book 1, they have to contend with, oh, this was my life before and this is my life now and like these people are here. It's a whole thing. So it's very very dramatic. It is one of the best audiobook series that I've read too. It does phenomenal on audio. And they're very very quick reads because like I said they're very fast paced. So I recommend these a lot. And just the ties to Severance about basically a version of yourself agreeing to something that another version of yourself may not totally agree
Yeah.
with is very, very trippy to think about. So that is my pick for basically all of the Wayward Pines trilogy by Blake Crouch.
I watched the show
Yeah,
when it was on.
I think I watched like the first episode of it and I didn't make it very far. The books were so good and I don't know if it just didn't live up to the hype for me or what, but I wasn't compelled to keep watching.
That's fine. Um, okay, before I switch gears into like books that hit a different part of Severance, I just wanted to quickly mention The Candy House by Jennifer Egan, which is not horror uh
Is it the
at
last
all.
name?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh my god. Yes. Of the Severance Egans.
Yes.
So The Candy House is her sequel to A Visit from the Goon Squad, which I loved and won a Pulitzer Prize. So, if you've read Visit from the Goon Squad, you know it's told in these short stories from different character POVs, but they're all like interconnected. So she kind of does a similar thing in The Candy House, except in The Candy House, one of the characters has invented a kind of a new technology, social media, where people can upload their consciousness and you can access like other people's memories and consciousness and kind of exploring the effects of that and like
Is
the
this
people.
is this also to promote empathy? Is this also the
I mean,
original goal?
yes,
Much like
but
social media?
essentially yeah, but it's like yeah, the promise of things versus like the reality of it and the cost, and you follow like certain characters who, opt out of this and are off the grid and like, are holding on to what they believe. There's a really heartbreaking story about a girl who um remembers like the one good trip she had with her dad, and it's like this memorable trip, and she looks up what his point of view was, and he was annoyed with her being there.
Oh
Like
my
he did not
god.
want her there.
That's
And
so
so
upsetting.
it's so upsetting. Um and like if you want to be able to access the like database, you have to opt in. So there's a lot, but the quote I really like from it, that's kind of the big quote that the title comes from. It is a reference to Hansel and Gretel, obviously, but it's nothing is free. Only children expect otherwise, even as myths and fairy tales warn us. Rumpelstiltskin, King Midas, Hansel and Gretel. Never trust a candy house. It was only a matter of time before someone made them pay for what they thought they were getting for free.
Ooh. I like
It's
that.
not like a
I love
very sinister collection. Like that's not like the vibe of this, but I just thought it
as a
touched
sensitive
on a lot
as a
of.
sensitive person, this sounds very sinister. If I found out that the people that I like love hanging out with were annoyed with me, oh my, that'd be the end of me. I'd be
Oh,
done.
that is no, that is my worst nightmare. I'm like, I actually don't want to know.
Please don't tell me that. Please don't. Just let me live in my delusion, please.
Leave me to my delusions.
Oh my god.
Okay. Sorry. So that is The Candy House by Jennifer Egan, canonically of the Severance Egans.
Yeah. One and the same. Perfect. Okay. My next pick again. This one is like really it aligns with Helly's character for me.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna do my best to not spoil anything for Severance on this one. But it's The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyn Kiste, which just won a Stoker. So I feel like
Woo!
this is really present timing. But basically, The Haunting of Velkwood is about this subdivision that is called the Velkwood Vicinity, and it is basically people say it's haunted, but it's in its own bubble and it's stuck in the 90s. And so essentially the people or the ghosts that live there are reiterate or iterations of the people who actually live there. They're just kind of like on a loop. They're just existing there, nothing ever changes. And then to the outside world, like in present day, nobody can get in. And like the government has taken interest in it. They're trying to research it and figure out what's going on, like what caused it and like all this stuff. And there's one girl, her name's Talitha, and it was actually like her dad's subdivision who developed it. And one day she is able to go in. She's able to enter the Velkwood vicinity. And so she is then forced to contend with like the ghosts that are there. And then in addition, like she has other friends who she grew up with who kind of judge her for her decision to go back in to Velkwood. And they're kind of contending with like their past and their current state. And it's a big to me, Velkwood was a big reckoning of like living authentically, who you were in the past and the confines that you had of the past versus who you are presently and the maybe freedom that you have in the future to do as you wish. And I think for Talitha, her character and Helly's character remind me a lot of one of each other because Talitha's past self and her current self maybe don't totally align, so they feel a little bit severed in some ways. And Talitha's choice to maybe live differently and have different choices, I think it aligns very much with season two Helly
Yeah.
and the choices that she makes, especially in the finale between her and Mark. I think that there's a lot of thematic character arcs between the two of these characters that are the same. Plus, there's always like, the government tech side of the research, I think kind of is a little bit related to Severance because the work is mysterious and important. I think that that would also apply to the Velkwood research, right?
Yeah.
And nobody really knows what's going on, like what they're doing with that research with the data that they're getting. So yeah, that's it's a little bit of a reach, but I think thematically Talitha Velkwood and Heliar remind me a lot of each other, and so that's why I picked The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyn Kiste.
I like that. I loved The Haunting of Velkwood.
It was very it was it made me cry. I was
Yeah.
very touched by that story.
Okay. My next pick is A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. And this is more about the existence as an innie, I would imagine. We were talking about like the fluorescent lit hell. Those are going to be my next two picks, is kind of just that vibe. So this is a novella about a man who dies and wakes up in a hell he cannot comprehend. This book caused me to have a tiny existential crisis. So, like, the main character we are following was a Mormon, and essentially he dies, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the true religion is Zoroastrianism. So if you didn't follow that, actually, you go to hell." And he's
Oh
like, "What the
god.
hell?" So, hell for him and for a lot of people is a giant, seemingly never ending library.
Oh my god.
And he cannot leave until he finds the book containing his life story with no mistakes.
Oh god.
And as you read this book, the monotony of it, like the several lifetimes that he is there, like the relationships he makes, like the passage of time. And I can't tell you the thing that gave me a crisis. Like half of the books are just blank or they have nonsense.
Oh god. Oh. This is like a nefarious The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, I think. This
this
is
is the
very bad. This is the
this
nightmare
is the
version of
Wario.
that.
This is the Wario.
Yeah, it's bad. Bad, bad, bad.
um but it is, and it's like, if you like, the rules in here are so weird because you can like die, but you will just reanimate like the next day. And so um I can't even tell
It
you
feels
like how stressful and like defeating this book was to read.
It feels like, is it Sisyphus that I'm thinking of? Like, where
Yeah.
he pushes the boulder up the hill and then yeah, it feels like that. It feels like the
A
never-ending.
Sisyphean hell of being
Yeah.
stuck in a
Oh,
library forever, but a library with, like, nothing legible. Like, every book you open is just nonsense.
there's no
It's
Dewey
just
Decimal System in there. Jesus Christ.
yeah, and everyone that's in there kind of looks the same, like, is there's not even, like, a diversity of, like, people you interact with. It's
That is hellish. That's a long stay in hell. That's not a short stay in hell. Jesus.
and so it did remind me of, like, the fluorescent lit liminal space of the 4 desks together doing work that is mysterious and important, just staring at numbers on a screen until they give you feelings.
The numbers are scary. The numbers are scary. Yeah, I don't. That's like such monotonous, repetitive work. I feel like that would literally drive you insane. Like, I think that that's a form of torture that the government has probably implemented on some people. That is terrifying.
So that is, A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. That is for anyone who has had a meltdown trying to comprehend the idea of eternity, if you were raised religious.
Okay, so definitely need to pick that one up too. Love this for me. Anyway, on to my next pick is Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. This is another thematic one on brand with who you are versus who you're supposed to be or told to be by a entity, corporation, religion, whatever. And also I me being the romantic that I am, this one's about love. So
Love is real.
that's the whole thing, right? That's Chuck's whole thing, and I think that maybe the last episode of season 2 of Severance proved that it was too, or it, depending on how you feel, it might prove that love is
Oh,
never real ever
rip
again.
Gemma. God.
Yeah, okay. But if you love Helly and more, okay, anyway, getting
Okay.
sidetracked. So Camp Damascus follows she's a young adult, her name is Rose, and she lives a very sheltered existence. Like when you start reading this book, you think she's in high school. Like there's no the way that she lives with her parents, the way that they treat her, the way that she interacts with other kids. I say kids, it feels very young, her age, but they're all actually like 18 and 19 years old, they're or I think maybe even older, I don't remember, but they're definitely adults. So it's a very sheltered existence and it's all driven by religion. Basically Rose has to report to her parents and this like religious counselor who has like all this information on her, just like very far overreaching control over her. She cannot be part of anything like she can't watch television or like have caffeine. There is like no normal existence for her. Like everything is seen as sin and controlling and bad for you, right? Which doesn't feel that out there sometimes compared to what we're dealing with in the real world. And the thing that kind of takes this into like a real supernatural horror turn is that Rose starts seeing like this disturbing image out the corner of her eye, this like thing that's like haunting her. And it tends to line up whenever she's kind of like questioning her sexuality and like exploring who she is as a person outside of what she's told to be. And of course, goes from there, and then her parents try and send her to a gay conversion camp that boasts 100% success rate, which is Camp Damascus. Um, but Rose, being the strong-willed woman that she kind of takes her own journey and gets to the bottom of what's really going on, which proves to be absolutely horrific. The setup feels very similar to the setup of Severance, like as far as like geography and the actual building existence goes. Like it's really really kind of insane, and I won't spoil what it is that's going on. But yeah, so Rose has to contend basically with who she is, who she loves, and outside of the confines of the life that she has been told to live. And this feels very innie outy because, as we see in season 2, the innies are fighting for their own personhood and their own will to love who they want to love and be who they want to be, despite what the outies want. So this feels very thematically on par with Severance for that reason. And yes, love is real, even when shows like Severance break our heart into a million pieces with their season finales. It's fine.
But they're shot so beautifully too that your heart's getting broken and you're like, but that is art.
Oh my god,
As
yeah,
my
and,
heart
like,
is breaking
as
as
somebody
Gemma
who
is pounding on the glass door, watching the love of her life run away from
yeah,
her. It's fine.
w but also, as somebody who really loves Helly, it's like,
I get
you
it, no.
can't help but feel a little inspired because the innies are doing what they need to do for them, right? And
Yeah,
they're
no,
making
I
the
get it.
choice, but it's also so horrific because 'cause they're also covered in blood and and having
And
an existential crisis in a hallway, like
yeah, I'm just like, Gemma doesn't have this context though.
no, she doesn't, and
So
that
to
is
her,
equally
her
horrific.
POV is like,
What the hell? Yeah. Yeah. I can't even begin again, immediate tummy ache when I begin to think about that too much, so I just don't.
yeah, yeah. But I loved Camp Damascus as someone who grew up like religious. It felt very accurate, and I was actually really surprised to learn that Chuck Tingle like did not grow up religious. Like this was not written from his own experience. But
No, he got it right. I
I'm like,
mean,
dang.
no, I feel like he
I think
got
especially the infantilization. I think that
yes.
the desire for control over your life and like the expectation that you are gonna hand that control over.
Well, and, like, and everything, it feels like with a lot of organized religion, and I was Catholic, so they've got all of, like, this overreaching control over people.
Mhm.
It just feels so like, it's a lot of entitlement.
It is.
It's a lot of entitlement, and it's a lot to deal with whenever you don't, you don't align with those values anymore, so
My final pick is We Had to Remove This Post by Hannah Bervoets. This was translated from Dutch. And this, again, is in the fluorescent lit liminal basement of the Lumen Corporation vibes. But this is about a content moderator, Kaylee, who works for a social media company, and she works like essentially in this basement, and just her job is to go through these things and just classify them and flag them as like yes good, no, bad. And her job is just being this human filter for all these things, and it's about the way that the job starts to affect her and the way she views the world and in her personal life and how it affects everyone on the team. Like people start to crack under that pressure. The way that they do their job is really like drilled into them. They'll be called into a room and shown something and been like, okay, how would you classify this? And they would say like, okay on this front, not okay on this front, it doesn't meet this criteria, so actually it's fine. Like, and they do it like
mhm.
militantly, like without even thinking. They are these human filters, but it is about doing that in this like basement fluorescent room with like no lights and just looking at these images all day. Like there's a scene where she's watching a live stream where someone is talking about hurting themselves, and she's talking very clinically about at what point she can step in, just like
Mhm.
the absolute emotional remove she has watching stuff like this. It's a
Yeah.
little more quiet and vibey of a horror novel. It's like a little more lightly insidious side.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not super fast paced, but it's short, and if you are looking for those vibes, I would recommend it. I talked about it on the social media horror episode. So that is We Had to Remove This Post.
Yeah, that is, somebody who had a job that was not far removed from doing that is very terrifying and upsetting. And like the most trivial shit, like the most borderline laws of like, oh, this constitutes this, but not this. And like it's about the intent, man. The intent's bad. Why
Mhm.
can't we just go off of intent here? You know? It's so upsetting and frustrating.
It's upsetting that there is, rubrics in place. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
that the fact that someone it happens so often that someone had to say, "At this point, this is the
Yes.
point that it's okay. At this point, it's not okay."
Exactly. Yeah. It's so upsetting if you think about it too long. You honestly can't because you will go crazy. All right. I have my last pick, which is it's more of a fun vibey pick.
Hey.
Especially with the end of season 2 of Severance. I couldn't help but get Misery by Stephen King vibes.
Okay.
Because Annie Wilkes.
Sure.
uh, knows no bounds, and she does not want her good best author friend that she has kidnapped and abducted and held hostage to rewrite a novel that she wasn't happy that he wrote to leave ever. So she will do anything, including very strong acts of violence and drugging Paul Sheldon until he complies. So I guess the the thing with Severance for me that drew this parallel is the end of season 2 when the Innies are kind of staging their uprising, their escape, their whatever. There's like a lot of like I don't know what the word is for it, but like old school terror and horror. Like they brought out the goat to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like for what? Like that was I was so
The
violent.
elevator kill?
The elevator kill? Oh my god, I screamed. I like
I
that was
did.
so gory and so violent, and it made me think like, "Oh my god, these people are prisoners here." Like, I mean, obviously they are by the confines of Severance, but to see it enacted in that way, like physically, was a different. It felt very different entirely, and it gave such like imprisoned. You are here to do this work and only do this work, and that is basically Paul Sheldon underneath Annie Wilkes's regime.
I
So
mean, you're not wrong. Yeah.
it's a bit of a reach, but I
No.
could not help but think of that book whenever I saw the end of season 2. So,
Oh my god. The end of season 2 is great. The
it's
the
like my
whole, like,
favorite
marching
thing.
band orchestra.
Yeah, it's like my favorite thing and then also the most upsetting. Like, especially that last shot. Like, it's so gorgeous and the lighting with the red lighting up the hallway gradually and they're all covered in blood and the longing looks of like both terror and love. Oh, there's so much happening and it's so upsetting. I love it so much. I don't know what it says about me that I love it so much, but I just do.
I love Seth. Mr. Milchick.
I love how he commits to every bit so freaking hard. No matter what is asked of that man, he's just like in it to win it every single time.
I
Conduct
have,
a
like
marching band, I'm there. No
he
questions asked.
he is there. I have a bit of a confession. I
Okay.
think if I was there, I would have a crush on Mr. Milchick, and I would be like, "Guys, we need to listen to what he's saying. Sorry, Mr. Milchick."
You would be a kiss up to Miljack?
For a little bit, until obviously it wouldn't go well for me, and then I'd be like, "Fuck this whole establishment, actually."
I mean, I kinda get it, but I don't know, he smiles a little too much for me.
That's true.
I'm like, "You gotta cut that crap, dude. Nobody can be this happy underneath fluorescent lighting. Please stop."
I watched an interview with him, and he was talking about, like, yeah, how, like, the smile is, like, on the knife's edge of, like, sinister and, like, sincere, but it is that, like, it's sincere to a point,
It
and
reminds
then
me of whenever I read The Stand, whenever Harold's, like, in the mirror practicing smiling, and, like, I could just imagine Milchick's like, "I gotta get the smile right," you know? And it's, like, this poor performance eval that they, like, nitpicked his stuff apart. Like, I do empathize with him because they would fuss at him if his smile wasn't whatever. You know, that's the kind of place that Lumen is.
yeah. So maybe I would be like Dylan. I would be, like, really into my rewards and having a good report, and then be like, "No."
No,
Like,
part of the resistance.
the switch would flip.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it, I guess. I don't know, the smiling man. Off-putting from the beginning. Can't do it.
But he gives us dance parties, Anna.
I don't think that that's enough for me personally. I appreciate the thought behind it, but personally, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. Just me.
Well,
Just
you
me.
don't know about more because you're an innie. This is your entire life. You don't have that context.
I think if I was met with the reality that the innies were, I would react like Helly. I would start throwing
Oh,
speakers
yeah.
at
Once I
the first
knew,
person I
for
see.
sure.
Um, I think I would like or at least I don't know what I would do. I would like to think I would rage against the machine immediately. Um, but who's to say, you know?
Who's to say?
Yeah.
I think unfortunately, I was a teacher's pet.
Oh,
So
knowing
I think, I would be like, I would love an authority figure.
I would love structure. No, to be honest, I would say like 5 years ago, Anna would definitely be like, "Oh my god, the structure is everything. I don't have to think about anything. I just have to listen. This is great." But lately, I think I've just been a little too angry to fall
Oh,
in line with
no.
that.
And I relate to that. Well, Do you have a chilling obsession, something you've been enjoying in horror lately?
Okay. So in general, I'm gonna be sappy a little bit, but I went to my first StokerCon, as you know, because you
Woo!
were there with me. And I had like a really good time. And like apparently it was very apparent that I had a good time. Everybody was like, you seemed very happy. And so that was hearing that was like really cool. Um, so I guess my chilling obsession lately is one, I felt like really re-energized coming back from Stoker about like leaning into my creativity. So I'm trying to do more like drawing, painting, more of that stuff. And I felt better in general about like reading and reviewing. Like you kind of get a point where you're like, I don't, not that you don't know why you're doing it, but like, especially with the state of the world, it's like, ugh, what do we do? Like, why? Like, it just feels a little lonely, like a little quiet. But then whenever you
Mhm.
get to go to an event like that and you spend time with people who like are really into the same things you are, it's really re-energizing. So my chilling obsession is just getting back to being really obsessed with horror again, I guess. Like I'm all about reading all of the horror right now, watching all of the horror that I can. I feel like I'm really behind on horror movies. I need to get caught up. I feel like the last one that I saw recently was like Companion, which came out at the beginning of the year. Um, so yeah, my chilling obsession is falling back in love with horror and like promoting it and getting the right horror in the right people's hands. So that way everybody else can love it as much as we
I love that. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun
do.
at StokerCon.
So
I don't know if
much.
people know, we did karaoke. We are
We both
karaoke
for the
buds
first
now.
time.
I will recommend if you have never done karaoke, I think what I loved is that we had live band karaoke.
Oh my
So
god,
you
the
can
best fail
barely
safe.
be heard. You can barely be heard over a live drums and live electric guitar. It's the best.
It's the best security blanket. I mean, like I still haven't been brave enough to go back and like watch the video of it. Like I don't think I ever will. I'm just gonna trust that it happened. I was very nervous because I had never done karaoke before. And Stephanie just signed us up and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm really glad that I did it. And I've been thinking about it. This is what's like really funny to me. That was on the second day of us being there. That was the first time I met a bunch of people in person for, like, the very first time. Like, Emily Hughes gave her a hug, went go do karaoke. Like,
That is their
I
first impression of you. It was like, nice to meet
yes.
you. I am screaming my own worst enemy from the stage.
Yes. So, like, if you ever needed to be pushed out of your shell and to, like, determine your levels of comfortability around strangers, yes, karaoke is the answer. But it's a quick way to make friends. Like, it's just like you don't have to worry about being embarrassed anymore about anything ever. It's a great time. Highly recommend 10 out of 10.
That was so fun. And you're right. I do feel very re-energized because as you know, I mean you have a podcast too. The thought of like it being summer and me sitting in front of a computer editing, I need
Yeah.
motivation to do that.
Yeah, no, same. And like it just kind of feels like sometimes I feel like I end up I'm sure I don't know if it's in my head, I mean, but I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again or like on the same things over and over again. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I need something to kind of like get me out of this rut or like to, shake it up a little bit." And then just like being around everybody who's so like smart and insanely talented and like just so freaking creative helps so much to like change your perspective on things or like maybe approach things differently. I don't know. It was just very, very nice to have that experience. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just plenty of fun too. I mean, socially, it was so much fun.
Yeah. It's so yeah, it's just cool to like see people in real life that you only interact with online and you're like literally putting faces to names.
Yes, it's a very, very nice feeling. It's very wholesome. It's very reassuring and like community, like, and we keep talking about like how important community is, right? Like reliance on like actual humanity instead of technology. And like that was, if there was like any one experience that was the, proof of that, I think it's Stoker.
Mhm. It'll be here in Pittsburgh next year
Hell
for the
yeah, it
next
will
2
be.
years.
I'm pumped.
Mm.
I'm counting down the days now.
I know you messaged and you're like 364.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta stop this. It's just gonna get really annoying after a while.
Okay, but I have another question for you. Anna, what is your final girl song?
Dude, I've had this song picked out for forever. I texted Stephanie, I was like, "Can I make a confession to you?" And I don't know if that stressed you out or not because it was kind of like a cold text, just kind of random. But I
So
have had this song
prominence? Okay.
a little bit, yeah. I've had this song picked out for forever, but it's called "You First" by Paramore. And one, it's a kick-ass song. I love Paramore. I saw them in concert, and it's I think behind Foo Fighters, they're my favorite concert. Like, just Haley Williams is this tiny human that does not stop moving and screaming, and it's phenomenal. It's so much fun. So I saw this live, which was really, really cool. But on top of that, if you listen to the lyrics, there's like a legitimate line about slashers in it, and it basically reads like, "Which wolf wins? I guess it depends. We have to wait and see." Whose appetite's the biggest. Turns out I'm living in a horror film where I'm both the killer and the final girl. So who are you? Ugh, chef's kiss. Just like I love that so much. The vibes of it are immaculate, and it's everything to me. It's a very upbeat song, so if I was facing down my slasher, that's what I would want my soundtrack to be.
I love that as a choice.
It's a little on the nose, but I mean it's just like too perfect, you know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with On the Nose. I could see it. I see the movie. I see it
Yeah.
happening.
There's a
I see
T-shirt. They
Tingle
literally
Talk.
put out like limited edition
They have
graphic
merch?
T-shirt. Yeah, I bought it. I spent way too. It was you know how they do. They
Yeah.
upcharge for those. And but I bought it. I was like, I can't not have this. And I don't wear it. Like I saved it just to have. Like it's just it's one of those weird things. Like I just need to have this in my house.
What does it say?
It's like got the silhouette. It's I'll send you a picture of it, but it's
Oh,
like a door that's opening and like it's red lit and it's like the silhouette of a girl, but the shadow is the girl with the knife. Um, so and it's got like you first on it at the bottom and like Killer Final
interesting.
Girl. It's a very, very cool.
Ooh,
Yes, big fan.
I like it.
Yes.
Where can people find you online?
Oh God, I'm everywhere. You can look, you can't get rid of me. Once you find me, I'm there. I am on Instagram and threads as Anna dot Rose underscore reads. I think I'm on TikTok and Blue Sky and I think Twitter still. I don't know with Anna underscore Rose underscore reads. Just search Anna Rose reads and you'll find me. I'm on you. All of my podcasting stuff is also on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's the same name. It's just Anna Rose reads the podcast. I do author interviews. I also kind of want to do like other fun episodes where it's not just interviewing. I kind of want to do like year end recap or mid year recap or what I'm looking forward to, or just like having people on who aren't necessarily authors to like talk about this thing in horror right now. I want to start doing some fun stuff. What else? What else? What else? I think that's about it. I'm just kind of I review for Capes and Tights as well. I'm just started reviewing for them this year, so you can catch my book reviews there. Um, yeah, I think that's about it.
Oh, right. And I highly recommend checking that out. I love that you're like, you can't get rid of me. I don't know why I thought of those TikToks of like the people that print out those like Nicolas Cage. I just hide them everywhere. Like everywhere you look, there's a Nicolas Cage. You can't get rid of him.
I'm gonna do that for Stoker next year. I'm just gonna print out a bunch of little pictures of me and leave it all over the place for people to find. You really cannot get rid of me.
It was like me with stickers this year. I would be like talking to someone and be like, "Do you want a sticker?"
Dude, I was so impressed. Like literally I have hired somebody to do like a logo for me because my logo right now is just my like half-ass attempt at Canva. And I'm like next year I'm gonna have stickers. I have to like compete with your game, man. You were Johnny on the spot with those every single time.
Because I ordered a bunch of them and I'm like, I have to disperse with these. I have to get rid of them.
I still have mine on my phone case. I still have the little one that you had.
I still have my Lisa Frank
Oh,
French fries, I think, or tots. I'm not sure what they are. They're
God, not the
something.
not the tater tots.
Not the
Let's not open that door.
Books in the Freezer is a bi weekly podcast. We post episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Books in the Freezer, or you can send us an email at booksinthefreezer@gmail.com. Show notes for this episode and all previous episodes are at booksinthefreezer.com, where you will find a list of books mentioned, as well as links to various ways you can support the podcast, including merch and, of course, Patreon. There is a lot of fun stuff on Patreon, but a few months ago, I launched a new series called The House at the End of Fear Street, where I am releasing episodes with guests talking about, hopefully, each entry in the R.L. Stine young adult horror book series, Fear Street. It has been such a ride. I cannot believe how bonkers a lot of these books are in the best, most 90s way possible. So that's been a lot of fun. And you can catch those full ad-free episodes at patreon.com/booksinthefreezer. There are, of course, plenty of ways to show your support for the podcast without spending money, like leaving a review on a site like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or word of mouth. Be the weird coworker that's always talking about how much you love horror book podcasts. Okay? Be that person. But if you don't want to be that person, you can also post about it on social media. It is greatly appreciated. I have been your host, Stephanie Gagne. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.